All right, here we are. Let's see. All right, we got some attendees popping in there. This is awesome. Robin, I'm going to give it another minute or two just so that we can get some folks in here, and then we can start rocking and rolling. I've got I cheated. I have my Moroccan tea already ready. So, but I'll be sure to make some more as well as we go through this. Cool, Robin, I think we'll get going, if that's cool with you. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first Wisdom and Wanderlust Wednesday webinar. Lots of W's there for you. My name is Michael Bennett. I'm the co-founder of ExploreX, and on behalf of our entire ExploreX team around the world, we are honored and excited to have you join us today for this first Wisdom and Wanderlust event. For those of you that may be new to ExploreX, if you don't know who we are a Seattle, Washington-based travel company. Our philosophy, our ethos, our mission is to support people in using travel as a catalyst for learning, for growth, and for taking courageous action in their lives and in the world. It's a lot to say. So what that means is not only do we support all of our travelers and craft these extraordinary, what we call outer journeys, you know, the typical travel experience where you've got hand-picked hotels, incredible guides, you're having amazing experiences, eating great food, all of the traditional classic travel experiences that we do so well. But we also invite you to go on what we call the inner journey of travel, right? This is the journey of exploration and discovery and learning and growth. And we do this by providing you with not only a series of practical tools and resources and all of that stuff, but also by connecting you with a series of experts and consultants and coaches, people that can really help you make the most of your travel experience. That's a really short description of a really big and exciting process that we have. So if you want to learn more about that, certainly invite you to go to our website. You can learn more on our website. You can reach out to us and connect with us directly. But for the time being, welcome and thanks for being here today. With that said, there's a quote that we use often here at ExploreX, and it says that the only reliable source of action is how we see the world. And this is really the beauty of travel for us, right? It invites us to see not only ourselves, but other people, other cultures, and the world through new eyes, right? And in doing so, if you believe this quote, that the only reliable source of action is how we see the world, is true, and we do, right? That all of this will then inspire us to take new action in our lives to create change, not only in our own lives, but in our communities in the world. So while we can't travel right now, you know, which is something that we all understand going through the coronavirus pandemic, what we can do is use this time to really reflect, reprioritize, and really reimagine who we are, how we're living, right? And those kinds of things. And to continue this journey, this inner journey of exploration and discovery, the inner journey of learning and growth, and to really continue to shift how we see the world on a day-to-day basis. And that's why we created this series, right? We wanted to invite you and give you an opportunity to continue to open your eyes to see the world and to see yourself through new eyes and through new perspectives. We wanted to stoke your curiosity, right? And your creativity. And we wanted to share some of our wisdom with you and inspire your sense of wanderlust. So that's what this series is all about. Now, over the next few weeks, the next few months, every Wednesday we'll have another event. So you can learn more again on our website, and we'll tell you more about the next event at the end of this presentation. But for now, I wanted to take a quick second and allow our team to quickly introduce themselves and say hello, so you get a sense of who we are and who you'd be working with if you plan travel with us.
Cool, great. Thanks, Michael. My name is Robin. I'm a custom travel designer here with the ExploreX team, but I also help my colleague Amanda with some of the small group journeys as well. And I have a background in this industry in both international and domestic US-based trip design. And I live here in beautiful Bozeman, Montana.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I'm the small groups program manager and also help Robin with some of the custom travel design. I've been in the industry about 15 years in international travel, and I'm really excited to be a part of the team and helping you all travel and see the world.
Hey there, I'm Sienna. I'm the travel design and operations specialist at ExploreX, and I am based in Seattle.
Great, thanks guys. And can our team in Morocco, you guys introduce yourselves quickly as well?
Hi everyone, it's great to be talking to you today. We're here in Casablanca going through I can't even remember which week of total lockdown, but we're very excited because it's ending in a week. I'm Mariama. We are the guys working behind the scenes, so you will be in touch directly with ExploreX team, Robin, Amanda, or Sienna, but we are the guys working here in Morocco. I've been working in the hospitality industry for the past, 5 years maybe, on the hospitality and hotel side before migrating to the travel agency world almost 3 years ago. And I can't wait to plan wonderful trips and welcome you here in Morocco whenever it's safe to travel again.
Hey, so I'm Marwan. I'm part of the ExploreX team in Morocco. Same as Mariama, I had a background in hospitality studies and also first experiences before switching to the world of travel industry. We're happy to welcome you anytime soon, and hopefully it's sooner than later.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I split my time between Morocco and the US, but yeah, I'm just part of the team helping facilitate these connections between Morocco and the US, and always happy to be welcoming travelers to a country that I've chosen to live the past couple years in permanently. So it's a really special place, and hopefully you'll have the chance to visit sometime in the future.
Awesome. Thank you guys. It is a real pleasure to work with all of you. The creativity and experience, expertise, and just everything that you guys bring to the table, both the team here in the States and the team there in Morocco, it's awesome. So we're excited, and we hope that some of our folks that are attending this today really get a chance to explore Morocco with us soon. Before we get into the meat of this, and I can shut up and stop talking and get you back to Marwan and Mariama, I do want to go through a couple quick housekeeping items. First is we are going to do our very best to keep this to an hour. So keep that in mind. We are recording this, so it will be available afterwards. So if you have friends or family members that might want to view this afterwards, we'll share the recording. I think we're going to send that out tomorrow. Is that right, Robin?
Yes, it'll go out tomorrow.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
If you have questions throughout the presentation, questions specific to about Morocco or just general questions about travel, please use the Q&A box that you'll see on the bottom of this, the pop-up box for Zoom, and then we'll answer questions at the end. But as we're going through the demonstration, if you have questions about what you're supposed to be doing in terms of preparing the tea and all of that, please use the raise your hand tool, and we'll make sure we address those as soon as possible. And then also pay close attention to the presentation that Mariama and Marwan are giving, because there will be a trivia question at the end of this. The first person to respond in the chat box will get an ExploreX branded Yeti tumbler. So super exciting. And lastly, we ask that you keep in mind that this is our very first Wisdom and Wanderlust Wednesday webinar. So bear with us if there are any technical difficulties. If there are, undoubtedly that'll be due to operator error, probably my operator error. So be gentle and kind and understand that. And as with travel, we continue to learn and grow from our experiences and make sure the next one is even more seamless and smooth. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the team in Morocco and let them take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michael. Well, we are here today to just talk to you a little bit about the history of Morocco, about what makes Morocco such a special place to visit. There are some comments that we've been hearing again and again from the hundreds of guests we have had the chance to welcome in the past. And I would say that the very first thing that surprises our guests is the diversity of the country. As you may know, Morocco is not a huge country, like compared to the US or to Algeria, which is our neighbor next door. But even within this very small piece of land, there is a lot of variety. And in terms of regions, I think that I can split Morocco into 3 very different and distinct regions. The first one would be the northern parts of Morocco, and that's by the Mediterranean Sea. It has a very different culture, a lot of Spanish influence, like the second language there is Spanish instead of French in all the other parts of Morocco. The architecture is different, the cuisine, the Moroccan dialect is very different. So that's the very first part. It has Tangier, for example, Chefchaouen, the Blue Village that I'm sure you've heard about, and also Fez, the cultural epicenter of Morocco. The second part would be the central part of Morocco, so that's Marrakesh and the Atlas Mountains, and that goes all the way on the west to the Atlantic coast with Essaouira, for example. That's a very, very touristic region. I'd say if you only have 3 days to spend in Morocco, go to Marrakesh and just focus on that. It has a lot of history, a lot of activities, great food, great restaurants, and amazing properties. There's like one type of hotel or riad for each client. And the third part, which is one of the biggest highlights of Morocco, would be the Sahara Desert. So when you think of Morocco, I'm sure you think of that one night glamping experience, the camel ride, the sunset in the dunes, the sandboarding in the morning. So all of that is in the Sahara Desert. It's a very unique part for people who have never done or experienced the deserts before. I would say don't do it unless you have enough time to really include it in an itinerary. So at least 8 to 10 nights would be ideal if you don't want the trip to be very active. The only other way to do it, because it involves a lot of driving, would be by private jet as like a luxury 24-hour experience. But that's something you should keep in mind if you're interested in doing the Sahara. You need to give us at least 8 to 10 nights so that we are able to put something nice together. So that's the very first point I would like to talk about. The second one would be probably the cuisine of Morocco. You come to Morocco for the food, that's something we all know. And even from one city to another, like the variety of dishes and like flavors is very, very different. So depending on where you are, if you are by the coast, then you naturally include more seafood in your diet. If you're in the center, then it's more like meats and chicken. If you are in the south, then there are some other specialities that maybe even Moroccans have never heard of before. So that's also another important thing, is that Morocco is very, very close to Europe, and that it has been a home in the 15th century for the Jewish community that fled Spain and Portugal at that time and came to Morocco as refugees and were like protected by the Sultan of Morocco at the time. So it has a lot of like Jewish influence, Mediterranean, European, and this is why there is like a wide variety of dishes. One thing you've probably all heard of is the Moroccan tagine, and I know that some people think it's a dish, but it's more the pot that you cook in. It's the method of cooking, actually. It's not a dish. So whatever you put in a tagine, which is the clay pot, becomes a tagine. But the ingredients can be very different. The flavors can be very different. They can be sweet and sour. They can be just savory. It really depends on where you are and what you're trying to do with your dish. The cooking method is very, very special because the very distinctive shape of the we should have brought it to Jean, actually. I don't know why we didn't do that, but if you can Google it. So you know that the cover has a very special shape that allows the steam to just stay inside and go back to the meat and vegetables to make them super tender. And it's like it's like cooking à l'étouffée in French cuisine, so that's our way of doing it. So that's another thing. So I hope this was helpful. We are going to play a very small video about Moroccan cuisine, maybe to give you more a taste of Morocco or a smell. I'm not sure that's possible through Zoom though, but we will try our best and we will be back in a few minutes.
Okay, and I'm going to share my screen and play the video. Okay. Oops. All right.
It's really hard not to dance to that music.
So one other thing is always also like linked and famous in Morocco is Moroccan hospitality. So the way Moroccan treat complete strangers as family, as part of their own. So the main way how Moroccans like show this kind of hospitality is through drink. I think you saw that through the video. It's tea, Moroccan mint tea. We are very famous with that. It comes in a thing like this, mini cups. Just gonna, yeah, I think you see it now. So it's, as you see, mini cups. We are just two people. We have 4 glasses. So that's one of the ways how we show hospitality. Only 2 people drinking, but 4 glasses, because you never know, someone could come and he needs to drink tea. So this is one of the symbols of hospitality here in Morocco. The pot, which is this. The main ingredients to prepare the tea. So first of all, we have the Chinese green tea. It's Chinese. We are the biggest importers of Chinese green tea in the world, 75,000 tons, I guess, per year. So a lot of green tea, I guess. It's called also gunpowder. So it's just like this.
Can I? Maybe.
So it's like this. Yeah, second ingredient, sugar. Moroccan tea is very sweet. It's served as a dessert. That's why it's very sweet. That's not might be convenient to everyone in the world, but here in Morocco, we like our tea sweet. Something very also like unique to Morocco. This is a normal sized sugar cube. So this is like a regular size, but this is a sugar cube for tea. So that's the difference. Third ingredient is the mint. Different kind of mint throughout Morocco. As Mariama mentioned, food is not the same in the north, it's not the same in the center, it's not the same in the coast. Same goes for tea. It's not the same in Morocco throughout. So the one you will drink in the north will be very sweet, a lot of mint, versus the one that you will drink in the south. There's a lot of gunpowder instead of mint. So there's a lot of differences. There's no set way to prepare Moroccan tea, but this is the way, like, let's say the standard Moroccan way that everyone could or can drink. So I will start. So the first step, you all need like very hot boiled water. So I already have mine. I don't know if you have yours. If not, you should prepare it.
I like what you're doing, Amanda. You're very well prepared.
So very hot water. Next, like for size,
Like 6 cups, maybe?
yeah, like 6 cups of tea. We go with 1.5 tablespoons of tea, of gunpowder. So 1.5. So next step would be to pour just a little bit of water in the teapot. You need to stir a little bit. And you pour that. You don't keep it. So this way we clean the tea. If there's like any residues, any chemicals or something like this, it goes away. It's very dark color, so it's not same color as a Moroccan mint tea. So that's why we always like clean it with hot water first. So next, I'll put water, I'll top it up. Sugar would be next. Don't put sugar if you don't want it. It's gonna be good with, yeah, optional. I think we'll go with sugar. We like sugar. So it will be 1 big sugar cube, which is like, let's say, equivalent of 5 small pieces, or like 4 or 5 teaspoons of sugar. Next step would be the mint. A lot of mint. A lot of mint. So I don't have a stove next to me. So the next step for you would be to put the teapot in the fire. We need it to cook for
1 more minute, I guess.
Maximum. That would be like really maximum. We don't want to boil the mint because it's gonna release all the oils which are a bit bitter. So don't put it for more than 1 minute. So once it's all done, the next step is we need to mix it with some air. So we are going to do like this. And you put it back. We don't stir the sugar. This is the way how we mix the sugar with the tea. So
we are not supposed to put a spoon in there because if the spoon gets too hot, then it will burn the mint leaves and it could burn the tea. So you don't want to have anything metallic going inside the teapot.
So we're gonna do it like 4 or 5 times until it's perfectly mixed. Yeah, so the tea is sweet, but not enough. So we always have it with some Moroccan cookies. I don't know if you have those, but once you come to Morocco, that will be the first thing you will have with some tea.
Want me to
Yeah.
pour? I'm not an expert. Because an expert would go
All the way up.
all the way up. I'm not sure I can do it without.
Go.
That's the maximum I can go. Ooh, well, the goal is actually to oxygenate the tea and to release the flavors of the mint. And the higher you go, the more you allow it to have this. And also, an expert, which is absolutely not me, would have like a lot of foam in the cup. I'm incapable of doing that, but that's how you recognize like a real tea expert.
So the more tea there is inside, like the more green tea, the more foam there is. Like for example, in the south, in the Sahara, you see that the Moroccan tea has a lot of foam. So the reason why that they are used to prepare like that, first of all, is for sand. Like if there's like any sandstorm or something and the sand goes inside, they just like take that foam, which is on top. So with a spoon, they just like do this with a small spoon and they clear it. So that's one of the reasons like they put a lot of foam in the tea in southern Morocco. Other regions, they don't put like a lot of foam. For example, in the north, they prepare it in a cup. So instead of teapot, they do everything inside a pot. So the mint leaves go in the pot like this. So you take a couple of leaves, you put them inside the cup, and then you add just water with the green tea.
We're trying.
Yeah, I'll try. So I guess this is the Moroccan mint tea. It's easy to make. There is no time for Moroccan mint tea. All day is the perfect timing for Moroccan mint tea. You can have it with breakfast, with lunch, anytime you want. It's always perfect for Moroccan mint tea.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Amanda, how's your tea, Amanda?
Perfect.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Well, of course, you guys are the experts. It better be good, right?
Mine's fantastic.
Yours is fantastic, also. Good. And
Just for yourself, you will have to drink this everywhere you go. So if you go to Morocco, you stop somewhere, tea. It's everywhere. So
it is by far some of the best tea I've ever had. I love it there. And yeah, guys, thank you so much. This was awesome. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions from our attendees here. I just want to interject that, there are certain places in this world that I think, that, for me, as I've traveled, had the opportunity to travel a decent amount and been lucky to be able to do that. There are certain places that I felt immediately at home, and Morocco was one of them. And as you said, it's the people, it's the cuisine, it's just the culture in general. And it's welcoming, it's warm, it's everything that you would want from a travel experience. And especially when you consider the type of experiences that we like to provide our travelers with, right? With opportunities to stretch and learn and grow. It's a perfect destination where you can feel supported and welcome and safe and all of that, and yet also have an opportunity to really push your comfort zones if you want and learn, and again, shift perspectives and all of those things. So thank you guys so much. And it's always a pleasure working with you. And at this point, let's open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions, again, we are using the Q&A box for any questions. So let's see here. Okay, I've got a question here. It says, what is the best time of year to visit Morocco?
That's a very easy one. I would say, actually, we are blessed with a very, very temperate weather, like all year long. The only month that could be a little bit difficult would be July and August, especially if you want to do the Sahara Desert experience, because it will be very hot. It's a lot of driving, so we don't recommend that. But apart from July and August, if you're going to the south, there is absolutely the fall is a perfect time to visit Morocco. September, October, November are some of the busiest months ever. December is the craziest season, and the busiest one. All the festive period is fully booked more than a year in advance. And then the spring, of course. So even starting from February, March, April, and May are still very good months to visit. So I would say just skip July and August if you don't, if you're planning on visiting the deserts. That's the only thing.
One thing that's come up for us in the past is in the spring, Ramadan. Is that something that people should avoid, not avoid? I mean, what are your thoughts on traveling to Morocco in that period of time?
You know what? Up to 2 or 3 years ago, we would consider Ramadan as a very low season in Morocco. Yeah. The thing is that 2 or 3 years ago, it would be in July or June, but now it's moving. Like this year, it was in May, for example. And it will keep on moving because it depends on the lunar calendar and the dates change by approximately 2 weeks each year. But the past 2 years, we've noticed like a big amount of tourists actually preferring to come in Ramadan. So the way this month will affect your trip, and this is the month where everyone is fasting during the day and having breakfast at sunset. The only way it will affect your experience is that most of like the local restaurants, the small restaurants on the road will be closed, but all the main restaurants in hotels, etc., will still be open. In terms of visits, like guided visits, the cities are calmer during the day because people are fasting and just tired and don't have a lot of energy. It will start to get animated in the afternoon. It will be completely desert by sunset because everyone is home breaking the fast, but it will get animated again in the evening because everyone will go out in the evenings. So what that means is like shorter time visits for the monuments, for example, that start like later in the morning, later than usual, and close a little bit earlier than usual because everyone needs to be home before sunset. But the bright side of it is that you won't have like the big queues in the monuments and everything will not be as crowded as usual. So that really depends on what you want to see. And it's also a special month where like you get to see like a very different dynamic, where you get to try some types of food that we only prepare for Ramadan. So it's a very unique month, but that really depends on what you're looking for. It's becoming a usual season, like a high season lately, because it's in May, April, and people still want to come and enjoy. So we still can make it work if you decide to come in Ramadan.
And it's also time for some unique experiences. For example, there's like when we break our fast, it's called tour. So we can organize, for example, like tours with local families. So that's one of the things you can only do if you come during Ramadan. That's if you come in any other month. So it's a unique month, unique experiences, unique ambiance, unique experience. So Ramadan is definitely worth, it's really worth visiting Morocco during Ramadan. So that's one of the things we could say.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Thank you. We've got a few more questions here. What would be the top activities that you would recommend for traveling with young teenagers?
Young teenagers, I would say if they're active, for example, then we can go for like Essaouira, for example. Essaouira is a very small fishing village, like a coastal fishing village, 3 hours away from Marrakesh. It's very known for its aqua sports and its great waves for like surfers, etc. So if you have teenagers that are interested in that kind of like aqua sports, we can definitely include that. If they're into like hiking and mountain biking, etc., there's a lot to do 1 hour outside of Marrakesh in the Atlas Mountains. So that's another option. You also have paragliding in the area, and a lot of very, very funny activities. What I can think of also, and that's something we've recently started doing for clients with either younger children or teenagers, and we would of course adapt the scenario depending on the age of the guests, etc. And that's a treasure hunt in the Medina of Marrakesh, where your day starts by you receiving like an envelope in your hotel room with GPS coordinates that you would give to your driver, who would take you to the main square of Marrakesh, and you need to look for a number that corresponds to an orange juice stall. You need to give them a passcode. They will give you another hint, and you spend your whole day like visiting monuments and going from one place to another, learning about rug making and lamp making and doing the tour of the Medina, but in a more interactive way. And we can even make it a competition with like a farewell dinner at the end with some gifts. So it really depends. Like everything we do is very, very customized. So it's very hard for me to give you an exact scenario because it differs, and we would ask you like a million questions to know more about you and be able to custom made something for you. But these are, I think, the main ideas that comes to my mind.
So everything could be adjusted. Like we have a main like standard activity, but depending on the person, and depending on their interests, we can always adjust those kind of activities to their needs.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you guys are always so good at that. So it's always fun working with you and getting creative and having fun, kind of picking the right experiences. All right, we've got another really great question here. What is the minimum number of days you would recommend spending if someone wanted to get a really well-rounded experience of the country and culture? Like 3 months?
Like 30 years, and I still haven't seen it all. Yeah. So I'll say 12 to 14, you would like cover everything. All the highlights. I'm not saying every city and needs every Moroccan person who lives in Morocco, but like that will give you like a wide overview. You would see the coast, you would see the mountains, you would see the desert, etc. So 12 to 14, even with 8 nights.
Yeah, 8 nights, but it would be like very fast paced. So if you have any kind of restriction like physical something, or you get tired a lot, we wouldn't recommend it in 8 nights. It's doable, but if you are willing to take the risk of having a very fast paced trip, because it's a lot of driving required to get from a city to another one. That's one thing you need to keep in mind while visiting Morocco. There's not a lot of flights between cities, only a couple of them, and if there is, they don't operate every single day. So that's another thing to keep in mind. 12 nights to 14 nights, as Mariama said, it's the perfect amount of time to do all the highlights from north to south. We can adjust it to a small amount of time, 8 to 9 nights. Lower than that, the number of cities would be very limited.
Quick question. I think a lot of us, we're familiar with Marrakesh and some of the things that are available to do and see and experience there. But you mentioned that Fez was really the cultural capital earlier. So can you share for our team and for our travelers that are joining us here some of the things that they might want to do and see in Fez?
Okay, so for Fez, first of all, it's my region, so it's my favorite city. So I'm gonna be a little bit biased.
I'm from Marrakesh, so I don't.
And yeah, first of all, it's the oldest Medina in Morocco, and no other city can compete with that. It's 12 centuries of history. The walls and the small houses, everything is still completely intact. It's the biggest car-free zone in the world, which is not the case in Marrakesh. And it's the finest cuisine of Morocco.
I agree.
So if you're into architecture, history, refined cuisine, design also, because it's becoming like a capital of design for Morocco. Some of the unique activities I would love to mention are the tasting tour. And that's one activity where, like, one experience where you have a local food specialists taking you to different food stalls, like you're doing the tour of the Medina through the food stalls. And you will get to try some local street foods that are very typical to the city of Fez, and that goes from yogurt to different types of breads and pancakes, to different types of olives, to soups, to meats, to camel burgers, to honeys, where you go to a honey shop and you taste more than 20 types of different honeys, dried meats, and the list goes on and on and on. But if you're adventurous and on the culinary adventurous side, that's something we would definitely suggest. There's also an activity, like a very nice experience that takes you through the Venetian arts of Fez, where you have a specialist from a corporate, like from an association we work with. They work on preserving the arts and crafts of Fez, and each artisan they take you to visit is one of the last, if not the last artisan in the world to master that art. And they take you to meet like 6 or 7 or 8 people during a day, and you get to learn about their craft and see how these people have spent their whole life working in these small ateliers and making like amazing things. And unfortunately, most of them, most of the youngest generation doesn't have any interest in learning those crafts. So once these people are dead, there will be no one to carry on that legacy, unfortunately. So that's also another angle that we could do. But even the Medina itself, like even just wandering and walking around the Medina is such an experience.
That was amazing. I have a personal question.
You need good walking shoes in Fez. You need to bring some good walking shoes if you do the visit of the Medina of Fez. A lot of people say we want to be on the active side. I would tell them, you will visit Fez. You will visit Fez. It's a lot of walking because it's only by feet. There's no cars, nothing. You need to walk. So have a good pair of shoes.
Noted. This is a bit of a personal question, but can you guys speak a little bit to some of the Sufism and the spiritual stuff that goes on in Essaouira, right? I mean, that's one of the capitals and the places that I know in the past we've sent travelers there, and they've really had a chance to connect with some local teachers and Sufi experts. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you can share a little bit about?
Yeah, so the kind of music that we're referring to, it's called Gnawa. It's originally not from Morocco, it's from Ghana. It came to Morocco with the caravans that used to come with spices and stuff. So it exists in the old Portuguese ports, which are Essaouira, Astila, and El Jadida. And some of them are also in Tangier. So those are the 4 places where you find like actual, like real Gnawa. Mu'allim. Mu'allim is the master. Mu'allim is an Arabic word for teacher or master. So each mu'allim or each teacher has his own zawiya. Zawiya, it's also a Moroccan word for atelier, let's say, where they teach younger people to how to play that music and also lyrics. So each song is dedicated to something specific. There's songs for the sea, songs for the mountains, songs for the earth, songs for the sun. So it's different subjects through songs. Some Gnawa will have different instruments. Like for example, the ones in Essaouira, they play a lot with it's called gimbri, which is the Moroccan bass, the bass guitar. Those will be in Essaouira. In other cities, you will find a lot more of percussion instruments. So it differs. It's always like that. That's the unique thing about Morocco. You find the same thing, but in many ways. It's common in food, it's common in architecture, in music, in all kind of stuff. You will find also like Sufi music in Fez. Like a lot of Sufism emerged in the city of Fez through the centuries. There's also a lot of zawiyas and also like a lot of mu'allims there who perform not only the Gnawa music, but also like the Isawa, which is a lot more spiritual, like a, let's say, trance.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the state of trance. They just play music for 4 to 5 hours until they are.
It's like a music therapy.
Yeah, it's music therapy. So this is unique experiences. There's a lot of festivals dedicated to this kind of music. If, of course, you're traveling to Morocco during those times, we will make sure to flag it and adjust your trip if you will be interested in that kind of experiences.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. So we've got 2 more questions. First one is, and this is in consideration of the COVID-19 situation. What are some things that we can do collectively to ensure the safety of our travelers in Morocco once we're able to actually begin traveling there?
We have been thinking for the past 3 months about all the measures that we could put in place to make our guests and make travel more safe in Morocco. And I think everyone in every destination in the world is asking themselves the same question. There are still like a lot of unresolved issues because we are still in lockdown. I know the government is working on like massive plans for the companies, especially for the tourism industry, to go back, to reopen and go back to the new normal. So all these announcements will be made next week with the end of the lockdown, and we will have a clear visibility on that. But some things we know already is, for example, that most of the hotels already have their plans set for this. They are still waiting for the government guidelines, but we know that our partners are like, their goal is to go above and beyond what the government will decide to even make sure that they're like more strict and that everything is a lot more safe than what the government requires. So some things we've been hearing and thinking about is, for example, for our vehicles to have like a plexiglass separation between the driver and the guide and the guest, like all the disinfectant wipes and gels and all of that. These are things we've had already in our car amenities, so that's not something that will change. In terms of check-in, check-out times, we want to see with the hotels like the possibility of doing it, for example, in the rooms to avoid that the guests are waiting in the waiting area or in the common areas. I know that this summer will be very busy for us because we need to just revisit like all our partner properties, all our partner providers of activities to know exactly what the measures will be in each property, in each restaurant, etc. So this summer will be very busy because it will completely change everything we've known so far. We know that we will decide to stop working with people who haven't taken like enough measures, and that we will probably include some because they've done great on the COVID-19 topic. So unfortunately, there is a lot of questions I can't answer for now, but I'm sure we will have more visibility in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's obviously a very fluid and organic situation, and it's constantly evolving. And so, but it's, we've had many conversations about what this would look like, and obviously continuing to prioritize the safety of our travelers and the residents and the locals that are there as well. Just a quick sidebar as well. One of the questions that we get a lot now, as people are thinking about traveling later this year or in 2021, is cancellation policies. Right, and how does that work? And so obviously things that we've talked about a lot with some of our guests that had planned to travel to Morocco, or the flexibility of this, right, and the willingness to shift dates without a penalty, right, to protect the travelers' money, so that if they do make a deposit and things do prohibit them from traveling at a particular period of time when they wanted to travel, that they know that their money is still protected and they're still able to travel to Morocco, but potentially at a later date. So. And if, for those travelers that are here and attending this, if you do have questions about cancellation policies and as it pertains to coronavirus and all that, please just reach out to us. we're happy to answer any questions about that. All right, one more last hard-hitting question for you guys. What are the cookies that you typically have with the tea? What type of cookies are they?
So these ones are made out of like almond paste and like grilled almonds.
All right. Yeah.
I tried to find earlier today like the most famous one, which is the gazelle horn. I don't know if you've tried these when you were here. It's like a it's like a croissant shape. These are the most famous, but because it's like we're just getting out of Ramadan and the celebrations of Eid, they were like all gone. So I went to like 3 bakeries but couldn't find any. But the gazelle horn would be like the most famous one in Morocco, and it's made out of almond paste and orange blossom water, which is like the signature fragrance in Morocco. You find that everywhere. You find it in candles, you find it in body lotions, you find it in food. So that's I think the most famous one. But then you have a variety with the same base, the same paste, but like in different shapes and with different dried fruits and nuts and flavors.
Sorry, there we go. Do you guys have a recipe for these things that you might be able to share with us?
Absolutely. Millions of recipes.
I mean, if you can't have the tea without the cookies, we might as well give everyone the recipe for the cookies as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll work on that. We'll send you the recipe for that.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Okay, so before we wrap up here, I've got a few things to notes and things like that, but we have our trivia question. So for those folks that are still on the call with us today, the question is, and please use the chat box to answer this question, and the first correct response will get an Explorer X branded Yeti. Okay, drum roll. The question is, what is a tagine? Ooh. All right, I believe we have a winner. Is clay pot a sufficient response? Team in Morocco.
Clay pot with this. Clay pot. It's sufficient, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we've got our winner. Kay,
Congrats.
Okay, we'll connect with you afterwards and get your address, and we'll be able to send you the mug. So thanks very much. Thank you, guys. Yeah, and I'll get into some other things, but thank you. This was awesome and wonderful. And if anyone does have questions about traveling to Morocco specifically, right, they can email us at morocco@explorer-x.com. Any general inquiries about traveling with Explorer X, you can email us at travel@explorer-x.com. Of course, you can learn more on our website, which is explorer-x.com. And you can follow us on social media at GoExplorerX. Next week, before we get into next week, one other thing I wanted to mention. Our group has been hard at work planning a small group journey for next year. We're targeting May 2021. This is going to be a 9-day, 8-night adventure to Morocco with a small group of people, limited to 10 travelers. You'll have a program leader that's there with you to guide you through a series of really powerful and insightful conversations, and then they'll be working with us here in North America, you guys there in Morocco, to really make this a really powerful and life-changing experience for everybody. We are putting the finishing touches on that experience. So we should have that hopefully by the end of the month. So if you are interested in learning more about that, you can find a link on our small group journeys page on our website, and there's a little button that says keep me posted, and you click on that, and you can put your email address there, and we'll make sure that you're added to the list of people that we let know first thing once that trip is finalized and available for everybody. Okay, next Wednesday, June 10th, we have our partners and our team in Ecuador who will be telling us more about legends and storytelling of the Cotopaxi region of Ecuador. So for now, guys, thank you so much. This was really, really wonderful. We're excited to connect with you more. Please send the recipe for the cookies over as well. And again, if anyone has questions for the team in Morocco at explorer-x.com. For general questions about ExplorerX, travel at explorer-x.com. And thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you so much for your time and for having us. And thank you so much for joining.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.